Hi, and thank you guys again for joining us with Women of Integrity. So, as promised, we have a cast of all men ready to answer the questions for you guys. So, if you have not done so already, please tune in to watch episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 1 is What is a Woman of Integrity? Let's figure out why we're even watching this show in the first place. Episode 2 is What Women Want Men to Know. So we had a panel of women who pretty much answered a lot of questions that men typically have for females. So now the episode that most females are waiting for, to get the male's perspective on women, to see what men have to say. So if you guys don't mind, I just want to dive straight in and get to a big question. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to, like, men would all men want this, all men do this, all men do that. So I want you guys to just throw out there, what is a stereotype that you are like, this is not true, that you just want to claim?
All men cheat.
All men cheat. So what do you mean?
I mean, I'm not saying that this is like been directed towards me, but it's something I've definitely heard, whether that be, social media, whether that be like conversations from other women, with other women about, like female friends of mine about, guys that they've dated or whatever. But I think that's something that is definitely untrue. I can definitely say from my end, it's never been something that I've done or I'm guilty of. I know numerous friends of mine that have never been in a situation where they, actually like cheated on their significant other or anything like that, or their wives or anything. So I think that that's something that should definitely, be put to rest. There are some people who are just, predisposed to that kind of behavior because that's who they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one whole half of population is predisposed to that.
Right. And you know what? It's funny because to speak on behalf of like women, a lot of times all we see is men that cheat, or we have friends and all of them get cheated on.
I was just about to say that. I was going to say, I think that we live in a culture where, especially in black culture, it's projected out there that men cheat. Like, it's a thing that is on social media. It's on, like, it seems like all the black figures that are men, it's like cool and normalized to cheat. It's almost like you're not really a man if you're not cheating. Like, oh, you don't cheat, bro? What type of, like, what's going on with you? You don't cheat? Because it's like perpetuated over and over, especially in black culture, that it's like a cool thing to cheat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's the reason why we have that stereotype.
Right. And I know whenever I went to, I had a church home and I seen my pastor, and literally there was no cheating. It was just like, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's no cheating involved. And that was my first time seeing a relationship where the male was not cheating. Then where I currently go to church now, it's again, I see the model of a male and female where there's no cheating involved. And I feel like if men even knew, like, okay, I need to be a model. So sometimes I'm not cheating because I love my wife, of course. But I'm also not cheating because I'm representing a generation of men. Because it looks like all men cheat. But it's not until you see that model of a family where there's no cheating involved, where the man actually loved his wife. So how can, what can women do to start seeing more relationships? Like, what is it, do they all need to just go to church and hopefully they pick the pastor that don't cheat? Because, there's some pastors that do not, really practice what they preach. So what does it look like? How can that?
I would say, just to address one statement, that it is a part of black culture that men cheat. I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that and say that it is a part of society, it's part of the world's culture that people cheat. You know what I mean? So to take it off of a group of people,
Yeah.
you know what not all black people, or it's not all
No.
white people, or you know what I mean. It's just more
people in general.
It's people in general.
Right.
People cheat. Not even
Right.
just men. You know what I mean. So that's kind of the
Yeah.
fallacy there too. Is that men cheat? No, women and
Cheat.
men are cheating really at the
At
same
the same
rate.
time, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Really.
some would even argue that women are better at it. You know what I mean? I've
Right.
heard that before. So it's a culture of cheating, not necessarily black or to a
Right.
certain demographic or anything like that. But to answer your question too, is to not have such a short-sightedness when it comes to your expectations of a relationship. You know what I mean? So how do women get out of the mentality that all men cheat? Just realize that it's not true. You know what I mean? It's not true that all men cheat. You know what I mean? So just remove that expectation. You might have been in every relationship that you've been in. They've cheated. Maybe ask yourself some questions. What do all of those relationships have in common? Unfortunately, you might not know how to pick them. You know what I mean? Or you
Right.
might be picking guys from a certain demographic or a certain guys that are accustomed to a certain culture. You know what I mean?
In a certain background.
Right.
But that's what I was saying. I was saying, like, us as a generation is like African Americans as black people. I think that we don't have a lot of people to look up to that has, like, the Cosby Show shouldn't be that big of a show just for a regular black family to be treating, his wife and his children regularly. And I think that we should have a massive amount of models where it's like the black man is in the house and not cheating. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of movies and a lot of culture and just the neighborhoods we grew up, it was always like perpetuated about like you see a white family and it's like the dad is in a home. He might be cheating or having an affair, but it seems like the black man is always taken out of the equation and look like he's cheating or doing something. And I think that subliminally put that in like
like it's
preferably,
feeding.
it's
it in
feeding
your
our
head.
mind. Even though I do agree with you that not all black people at all, because we're so massive. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think there's a large amount of African American people who are not cheating. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or people in general. But I think that to answer your question, women have to have a standard. And I think it's not about going to church to look for a pastor or a certain guy, because the pastor honestly could be cheating. He just may be cheating well,
Right.
or maybe the first lady's cheating. But I think that it's about you having a standard, like honestly getting in your prayer closet, praying and talking to God, and telling Him like, God, this is what I want. This is my standard. God will, He'll give you the desires of your heart. If you're honest and you're true and you're a woman of integrity, God will make sure you have that man. But the devil will test you. After you're finished praying to God for that man, the devil will send a whole bunch of decoys in there to try to distract you. But if you're able to stick to your integrity and then not go against your standards, you'll be able to receive that man of God who you're looking for. But the question is, are you ready for the man of God? A lot of women are asking, I want a man that's not cheating, but are you ready for that? Because it comes with a level of integrity that a lot of women aren't ready to partake in.
So, let's say we're speaking now to the woman who is watching the show. She's sitting on her couch. She got her laptop up, and she's like, yeah, this sounds good.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds great to just say, all right, let me just say all men don't cheat.
Right.
But I need to keep, so I'm going to let my guards down and to get played again. So she sounds like this sounds good. However, is this too good to be true? What would you say to that woman?
I would tell her it's broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Really broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a bunch of guys that are cheating, you might be fishing in the wrong pond. You know what I mean? Or you might want to look at yourself.
Good one, bro.
You know what I mean? Just be real. Just, what I mean? Look at yourself.
Honestly.
Like, you don't know how to pick them, or you like as, a lot of times in certain women's lives, they say, I like the bad boy. Okay, that's what you get when you like the bad boy. I mean, that's what you're going to get. That's part of being that bad boy,
And then another thing is, a lot of women think that, because I've seen this in my own life, like, I come from a different background of life, and God was able to renew my mind and renew my thinking, but I dealt in an area where a lot of women think they can change a man. They get a man and they see good potential in him. They see that he might have a good heart, or he's nice, or he takes care of his kids, or he does something that they're attracted to. But they believe, like, I can change the bad things. Like, you know what I mean? He's this, he's that, but I can change that. My biggest advice would be, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. You know what I mean? Don't think, oh, you know, I can change him. It's like, no, if he's like that when you meet him and then he starts cheating, don't be mad at him because he showed you who he was in the beginning and you
So
decided to stick around.
Let's go to the whole opposite, right?
Okay.
So she picked a godly man.
Okay.
She went to church. She picked a man who loved the Lord with all his heart.
Right.
Actually, he wasn't even stunting all the other girls. That he was like, this is a godly woman. I
Right.
loved her with all my heart. I'm going to do what it takes. But then, somewhere along the line, after marriage,
Right.
after they've been together,
Right.
temptation hits.
And he cheated.
And he cheats. So now what? So it's not her anymore. It's
Right.
not that she picked this wrong guy. It's not that she went for a bad guy. He cheated.
Well, men aren't perfect.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, there is no such thing as a right guy and a wrong guy or anything
Right.
like that. It's the right circumstances and the wrong circumstance. You know what I mean? So, you know, he could have been a man of God, and the scripture tells us that a righteous man falls how many times?
7 times,
That's what I heard.
but he keeps getting back up.
So I'm going to speak for a woman.
I know what
And
you're going to say.
you will not fall 7 times. I got y'all back. We are not saying that we're going to let this man fall 7 times.
And I'm not saying that she's not hurt by the situation. I'm not advocating that, you know, she continuously put herself in a situation to be cheated on. I'm just saying you presented it as though he was a godly man that fell into temptation. And sometimes that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The scripture says a man is tempted when he is led away of his own lust and enticed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we don't know all the circumstances
Right.
that brought that man to either leave his marriage or, you know, to, you know, go outside his marriage
And this is
cheat.
exactly, and this is something that I was thinking about too. When you take your wedding vows, it's for better or for worse. And I don't care if somebody says they're a man of God or for anything. What word do you want to say?
No, I got it.
Oh, I don't care if somebody is like, you know what I mean, a man of God or not. At the end of the day, men and women, we live on an earth and we have a fallen nature. And it's not impossible for you to be a man of God and cheat, for you to be a woman of God and cheat. People fall short in many different ways. And I think that whenever you take that vow for better or worse, you're taking it and saying, you know, if something was to happen, would I be willing to stick around with it? It's your personal decision. You know what I mean? But you're taking that chance. You're taking that step of faith to say, I'm trusting you not to cheat. But if you do I stay with you for better or for worse?
So this is going to really Braxton. I know Braxton's wife is backstage. So I want to ask, what is your perspective on everything we just said?
Honestly, as far as you know, someone being in an established marriage and, you know, succumbing to temptation and cheating, I really can't speak on that from my perspective, but, you know, the Bible does talk about, you know, forgiveness frequently, but it also talks about, you know, criteria for divorce, you know, and
Right.
that being one of them.
Yep.
But ultimately that would be, you know, upon the person who was cheated on to, you know, seek God and you know, try to understand what his wishes are,
Right.
you know, for her or him, you know, to pursue the marriage, pursue counseling, and, you know, try to right the wrongs or, you know, possibly move on with, you know, his or her life. I mean, it's a tough subject, you know, especially when you're talking about, you know, in a perspective of marriage, you know, because, I mean, until you're married, technically you're single,
Right.
you know.
True. Even if you're courting,
Yeah,
you're single.
you know,
Yeah.
technically you're still single. You know, you file your taxes, it says single.
Right.
From a financial perspective. But regarding marriage, you know, I really feel like a lot of people don't have the actual answer to that, you know, because it could go either way.
Right.
Honestly, it's ultimately up to the husband and wife to be on one accord and really understand, you know, the purpose of marriage, and that's to reflect Christ's love for the church.
Amen.
And if you are equally yoked and equally together in your pursuit of Christ and, you know, in God's heart, then, you know, that's not even something that you even think about.
Right.
You know, that's something that's not even a topic of conversation.
Right. Now, since this topic is a little touchy, and to that same woman that's sitting there saying, I knew it. So now she's like, I knew it might have been too good to be true. What kind of hope can you give her with like a husband perspective? What kind of hope can you give that woman that technically not all men cheat? So if you find a godly man if that godly man finds you and he loves the Lord, you'll be okay. So what kind of hope would you give her?
Well, the thing is, you gotta kind of. I mean, unfortunately, it's like dating. I feel like for a lot of women, it's like a process of weeding out. A process of eliminating the suckers, for lack of words. And a lot of women who have been cheated on, they put up these walls, and basically, man, it's hard for a lot of guys to break through, even the good guys, and after a while that can become tiring on a guy. It's like, hey man, I tried to be right, tried to treat you right, but this person has just been broken by the situations that they've gone through, to the point where they don't want to let anyone in. But ultimately, it's all about you being in a relationship with God, and sincerely listening to what He has to say as far as like the direction that you should go.
Right.
From my own personal opinion, I prayed for my wife. I was specific in the things that I asked for, so that when I saw it, I knew what it was. It was like, okay,
Right.
I can believe that this is what God wants for me, and if He's gonna put it right here in front of me, chances are this is not something that's gonna lead me down a road that I don't want to go on, or I shouldn't go on. As long as I do my part and uphold the values of a godly man, then everything should be okay.
Right.
So I wanna say that because you said giving the woman who's like, I know that I knew it, giving her hope, right? So I want to say that all men do not cheat. And something that I want to stress is that before you get married, it's important for you to be married to God. I know that for me, I'm married to God. And whenever I meet a woman and she's married to God, it's not that I'm cheating on her. It's like I'm cheating on God. So when you're in a relationship with a person that is married to God, they're not going to cheat on you because they're not going to cheat on God. You know what I mean? It's bigger than you. It's like, and that's what you want to make sure that you're aligned with God to pray for what it is that you want in a spouse and be married to Him and let her be married to God as well. And that way it's a triangle. It's you, your spouse, and God. And you're not just married to each other, but you're married to God. So when that man or that woman is tempted to cheat, then they'll be able to say, God, but you see all things. Even if I'm able to finesse my husband, finesse my wife, I can't finesse God. And you need a person that has that conviction in their heart about having that relationship with God. And then you don't have to worry about that. So it's really about you working on yourself and building your relationship and your marriage with God, and then praying about what you want, and then He'll send it to you.
Right.
And you won't have to really worry about cheating.
Now I'm gonna be very honest. If it's that, then I give you hope. I don't know what will, because it just sent chills through my body. Like if you you want to be married to someone who is married to God. So if he's married to God, him being a cheater, he's married to God. Him not treating you right, he's married to God. It says, women submit to your husband, and husbands love your wife as Christ loved the church. And a lot of times where men mess up is they love their wife, but they never took time out to see how Christ loved the church and what that even looked like. So once you got you see a male who knows how Christ loves the church, is married to God, you're kind of, I know this is kind of very broad to say, and it can sound like a very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but yeah, or a statement that's like you made that up, or this sound very fairy tale like.
Right.
However, if your mate, if you have a man that finds you who loves God, who is married to God, and lets his steps be ordered by the Lord, you can almost bet your bottom dollar that this man will be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Because I don't want to say that trials won't happen, because they will. So that would have been, I would have made that up. But you'll be alright. You'll be okay. I wanted to ask the question to the singles now. So when you go for looking for a wife, if you're looking for a wife and a woman, what is it that you're looking for? So first thing I'm gonna say, does looks matter?
Definitely.
Looks matter?
Definitely matter.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you
men
mean
are
to tell me?
men are visual creatures, so you gotta be attractive, and and that's where the last video I was talking about us changing our perspective on what beauty is. Because I'm not saying you have to be attractive like the world's attractive, but you have to be attractive to me on a physical level, but more importantly on a spiritual level.
Even on a biological level. You know what I mean? Some things just go past what I even like. You know what I mean? Just as men, sometimes you can see a person, and even at the core of us, it's like, you know, we might just be assessing somebody's health level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, if they look like they got the flu, that's not necessarily going to be the most attractive thing. So
Right.
looks do matter. You know what I mean? But I want to preface that with saying looks are not the most important thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially as you go through, you know, the depths of a relationship and stuff like that. Looks are not the most important thing. But we're not going to pretend like they don't play any part.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So what is it that draws you to a woman?
Her love for herself, her love for God, her love for other people. I think
Okay.
that will shine over whatever physical, you know what I mean, appearance that you have. If you love God, you love other people, and you love yourself, that's the most attractive attribute you can have.
Right.
I think for me, I would say what draws me to a woman,
Mm-hmm.
it would be my desire for a woman. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if I'm desiring a woman, that's what's going to prompt me to even look. And then what's going to get my attention will be that, you know, that appearance, you know,
Right.
because like I said, you know, you really can't assess somebody's love, you know, or
From the
their
door.
integrity or their consistency, you know, just from a distance. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, put some effort. I mean, if you're trying to be found, you know what I mean?
Right.
Put
You
some
know.
effort in your appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
put some
Like,
effort
you
in
know,
your appearance.
brush your hair.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
get in the shower.
Yeah, put some lotion on.
Put on clean
Smell
clothes.
good.
Even
Yeah.
Start there.
even Matthew 6. Even
So, I have a question for you, Braxton. What makes you wake up in the morning and say, God, you really outdid yourself with my wife? There was no way that I would have wanted anybody else but her. What does she do, or what is it that makes you be like, this was it?
I mean, it's like, you know, what doesn't she do, honestly, you know?
good answer. Good
Yes.
answer. Survey says.
Ding,
Ding.
ding.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you know, she knows me. That's like one of the biggest things, you know, like there are things that sometimes I don't even have to, you know, say, and she'll just know. You know, we have a son, you know, the amount of love that she puts into him and the energy she puts into him, and, you know, just, you know, being that, it's just like, you know, like being like the missing piece for me, you know, because I'm not perfect by any means, but, you know, the things that I fall short on, that she definitely comes through and just, you know, picks them up for me. So, I mean, I couldn't have done better.
Now, all I'm going to say is, Braxton's wife, you doing good, girl.
You know.
So, okay. So, one more question for the single men. How does a woman come off to show, hey, I'm available. You can approach me. I'm here. And don't be scared. I will say yes, but not come off thirsty.
But not come off thirsty.
What? Eye contact, smiles, be kind, be polite.
Simple stuff.
Yeah,
that you
simple
learned in
stuff.
second grade.
Yeah,
You know?
just be nice.
Be
Just
nice.
basically be nice, be kind,
Yeah.
smile, eye contact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe say, I'm available.
No, that's thirsty, right?
That's
Yeah,
not
that's-
thirsty.
that's a little
No,
thirsty.
see, well, this is what I would say. That terminology, thirsty, you know what I mean? I think that's an overused, overrated terminology. To desire to be in a relationship,
It doesn't
there's
make you
nothing
thirsty.
wrong with that.
But
Right.
You know
there's
what
a
I'm saying?
thin line between being pursued and being the pursuer, right? So how does she
It's
come
not a thin
off?
line.
So her
very
saying
Black and
I'm
white.
available is not coming off like, hey, I'm pursuing you.
Well, if she's pursuing, then that's, I would disagree that that's a thin line. She's pursuing you. She's telling you, I'm coming at you, and you're not even coming at her. You know what I mean? So that's pursuing versus making yourself available. You know what I mean? So I would say, take that idea of thirsty out. That's something that people use to shame people in our society now, because everybody's on social media. So they feel like, oh, he's in my DM, so he's being thirsty. You showing all your boobs, so who's thirsty? You know what I mean? Let's be for real. You know what I mean? You're thirsty for attention. You're showing everything that you have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So all these little droplets of water are dudes in your DM is feeding your thirst.
But I think like if we're talking about in person, I would say that you just need to be open for conversation. You could spark a conversation even if you don't want to seem thirsty. You can go up to somebody. Yeah, you can go and you can give a compliment or something. You can give eye contact, be polite, smile. If it's social media, don't post a bunch of stuff like waiting for a man or can't wait for my husband or don't do stuff. Yeah, don't do stuff like that. Just do you. Like get on your stuff. You know what I mean? Get your hair done. Go back to school. You know what I mean? Get on a nice little eating plan. Like just do you, and the right type of man will be attracted to that. And then you won't have to go and look for anything. It'll come to you.
So here's a side note question. So if she's showing, hey, I'm available, I'm smiling, I'm being friendly, I'm holding conversation. But if you do not pursue her at that point,
Right.
does it? Are you saying, okay, because I'm not interested? Or because some girls may say, well, maybe he's too shy. But it's like, no, I'm not too shy. I'm just not interested in you like
you
that.
can be polite and be nice and still not be meant for me. You know what I mean? And that's why I say it goes back to your relationship with God, because God sees past just the physical appearance and just the physical things that happen in you know what I mean, in person.
But how can the girl tell the difference? How can she tell the difference between maybe you're shy
Oh,
and you're just
a
just
man
don't like her?
a man that wants you. So you're saying like if she's being rejected out of
Like if you want her, you will pursue her.
yeah, if a man wants you, he will pursue you.
there's-
If not, then he'll friend zone you the same way it works. I mean, we know this. You'll get
Right.
friend zoned or you'll get overlooked or you know what I mean. They'll just homie you like. But I say don't like. And sometimes men will test you. I know people who's a female like to do like the female, and a female like did things to be open, a little bit thirsty, not too much, and the dude just didn't pursue her. He was like, I'm gonna just chill and I'm gonna pray about it and see what God says about it. So don't give up hope just because he doesn't immediately jump on you. You know what I mean? Just ease yourself up and just continue to be great, and the right dude will find you.
Be patient too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
patience.
Sometimes I think people lack patience, so we come to the end of our judgment when we don't see things materialize in our own time. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the second Sunday I hadn't seen him at church, and I smiled and waved at him, and I prayed with him, and he still ain't asked for the number. All right, you know what? He came to church to meet the Lord. You know what I mean? So give him some time to, get acclimated. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on in his life, or he might not be able to read you. You know what I mean? You might be thinking you're sending the right signals, but he might not be able to read where you come from. You know,
Or
he
just
might,
not for you. Or some people it's
he's
just not for
it.
you. Yeah.
yeah. Or you might, exactly.
It's not
You're
it.
like, yeah, thank you, but I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm Gucci right now.
So one of the questions I have is if a woman sees this man and he's like, hey, he's a godly man, right? When should she fall back if he is not pursuing her?
When they're friends and then the female is not being pursued, so she needs to fall back.
Yeah, when should she fall back?
But what do you mean by fall back? Because it's okay to be friends. Like, why can't
No, I'm talking about like fall back from thinking like this might be her husband.
I don't think women should necessarily lead their mentality with this is going to be my husband.
Exactly.
Okay.
In the first place.
In the first place. So that's the mistake I think.
That'll
sometimes.
eliminate the problem right
So
there.
never
Yeah.
say this might be my husband.
Yeah, when you meet somebody, always look at that person as like, this is a friend. This is a new friend. And if it's meant to go further, God will take it. Don't meet somebody like, I met my husband today, or I met my wife today. You know what I mean? Just be like, I met a friend. And then if God takes it to that level, He does. But a lot of women does make that mistake.
I
Meet
do.
a guy and their man, you know,
He's gonna be he's the one.
yeah,
You
he's
can
the
say I like
husband
him.
in your head.
You know what I mean? Or if you're thinking I would marry this guy off a first look, you might have a problem.
Yeah, you made that up.
Might
You
be
made
thirsty
that
a
up.
little
Yeah.
bit. Might be
A little
a
thirsty.
little-
Yeah, you should be
I'm
scared.
afraid.
Yeah.
I
You're
just
afraid,
killed
y'all.
6 people and I'm your husband based off looks. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's more of like, the only man, and I'm just coining a phrase here, the only man that might be your husband is your fiance.
That was a
But I
good phrase.
do believe.
I never heard it, but it was like, it's good.
You heard it here first, folks.
But
You
I
heard it
do
here first.
believe in love at first sight.
Good
I
answer.
do believe.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I do
bro.
believe you can meet somebody. Do y'all believe in that? Like you can meet somebody and fall in love at first sight. Like meet somebody, you interact, y'all exchange numbers, y'all go on a date, and you're like in love.
I believe so.
I believe
I think
you
it's
can do it.
rare, but I believe
Yeah,
so.
love
Yeah,
at first
I
sight
think
is
so.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it goes back to being married to God, because He's gonna always lead you and never lead you
Right.
astray. You know what I
So
mean?
this will be our last question before we play our game.
Okay.
Braxton, I'm curious to know your point of view. I don't want you to get too deep because when we have our marriage segment, I'm going to get in more detail. But what made you say that your wife was it? And did you know right away? Did you know right away?
I knew right away.
You knew right away?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew right away because, like I said, I prayed for it, and I legit had a specific, like 10, 12 things that I wanted. And I remember Shalise and I were on our first date, and we were talking, just getting to know each other. And we started talking, and literally, she was telling me all these things about herself, and it was like, check, check, check. And I got scared.
Let back God do. See,
I
God
got
will set
scared,
it
man,
up.
because it was like,
Divine appointment.
real.
It's
It was
really,
like, whoa. Like, I asked for it, and boom, it's like
it's
right
right
here.
there. See,
And I was like, dang, am I ready? But I knew I had to act on it because I asked for it.
and you prayed for everything that she was, right?
Right.
See?
So even if I thought I wasn't ready, I asked for it, and it was right here in front of me. So if I let it go, then,
You're lost.
that's
Right.
on me.
Wow.
Right. So, you guys, girls, I asked a lot of these questions because I feel you, and I got your back. So I know a lot of times you could have heard some of the things that were being said, and you could have been like, "Oh my, there's no hope," but there's hope, you guys. Some of you, if you're the type that is like, I want a mate who knows what he wants and he go for it, that's who's going to pursue you. And if you're like, if you can be like, kind of lax, then maybe sometimes there'll be a little process. So don't give up hope. Don't think that these 3 men is the tell-all, be-all for all men. These are just great men of God that I feel like had great perspective. But please, if you have more questions, please put it in the comments. We will have a part 2. So now I want us to play a game, y'all.
All right.
So this game is called Dater or Disser. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you guys will let me know if you will date her or diss her. So if you are walking down the street and a girl comes up to you and say, "Hey, I want your number," date her or diss her?
She a rider. I'm with it. You know what I mean? She a rider. I don't mind a little ratchet every now and then. You know what I mean? As long as it's a good, she a rider. She could be a little bit forward.
She could be forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta do something.
Disser. Okay, why y'all dissing her?
I mean, for somebody, any chick that comes up to me and says, "Hey," like that, first off, I'm like, I got a mental picture in my head. Like, she's looking whack in my head all day.
She was whack immediately.
Yeah, he's like, if you go, it's all about, presentation.
Right.
You walk up to me saying, "Hey," for one, somebody coming to me saying, "Hey, I'm in defense mode."
Right.
You know what I mean?
What if it was like a sense
Hey,
of
you owe me
but
money.
what if it was but what if it was about having like a sense of humor and it was like funny, like with friends?
But
and
that's
came up
not,
to you.
"Hey."
Right.
But you mean like the way she said it?
Yeah.
Oh,
the way
okay.
she said, I'm like, no.
So
See,
you
my
want
man,
to switch it to
I'm
disser.
I'll still date her. I'm like an optimistic thinker, so I thought about it like, you know what I
Right.
mean? She was excited and she just was being
But that's
funny.
the thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Why you dissing her?
Nah, I'm dissing her. Kill all that.
That's
Nah,
mad tough too, yo.
Dating her.
That's
Yeah.
mad tough. I'm thinking like it's like some
Like
Snoop
fall
off
back.
the
Yeah,
wire
like
or
fall
something.
back.
Like,
Yeah, that's
She seems like she's in head mode.
She too
yeah.
much.
It comes off a little masculine to me.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, yo, no, this ain't that. You gonna walk up to me like this?
Yeah, use your inside voice.
Yeah,
My
chill
thing is like,
Yeah,
there
for
is.
real.
I don't like the game. You know, and I was talking to somebody about this before. I don't like the game, but there is a game, and sometimes you have to submit to the rules of the game. And me, as a man of valor, you know what I mean. I've been instructed by Scripture: a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. So I need to be in pursuit. So if I wasn't checking for you,
Don't check for me.
Don't check for me.
you know what I mean? And now if I see you and you like, hi, how you doing? And you know what I mean? Oh, okay, now we can engage in conversation. Or if I didn't see you, you know what I mean, and you came up to me respectfully, like, oh, excuse me, sir, you know what I mean? Or excuse me.
But what about date her? It didn't say marry her. Maybe I can date her and just get
Oh,
the,
yeah.
What
it
you
could
gonna date for if y'all are not looking for a future?
I mean, no, because you never know who a person is. Just because that might be a misconception. You know what I mean? You just
Okay.
never know. I'm an optimistic thinker. I get it, but you know what I
The
mean?
Right.
reactivity level is on 12, so it's just
Oh,
like,
if it was like that, if it
Here's
was
the
like,
thing,
hey,
don't
yo,
let them,
shit,
but
don't
not like-
let them deter you for your
no, like I'm dating. I'm dating. Like you know what I
You're
mean?
dating,
But
okay.
it does matter on the like the particulars of how it went. You feel me?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just optimistic. These guys.
Good word.
So, you're at a concert. A Travis Green concert.
okay.
Yes.
And you praising God, you loving the Lord. You're like, He moves mountains, right? And every single time you look to the right, you see they staring dead at you. They ain't even praising God because they looking at you.
Mhm.
Data or different.
I mean, like, with the straight face like that.
This.
Yeah.
Oh
that's
no.
This.
I did make her look sound scary.
This.
So
That's what
she's
that-
staring at you smiling because she's like,
Is she doing like he
Yeah.
moves mountains? Hey, Zach?
yeah, he caused walls to fall with your power.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Perform miracles.
Well,
Yeah.
you said
I feel
she
like I've
wasn't-
been down this road before,
But-
so
Yeah.
Data.
But you said
We had the
that
Travis
she.
Green concert.
But hold on,
Right,
but
right.
you said that she ain't even praising God.
Yeah, I had to change that.
Yeah,
My
that's
bad.
what
I
I'm
made
saying.
her sound like a serial killer.
Okay, so
No,
she's.
for real.
Yeah, I did.
So hold up,
I
so
did.
she's praising
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
she's
She's
sharing-
praising God. He moves
Straight looking at me like
mountains.
this.
Right, he moves mountains.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Look at Roxanne.
Right? She on distract her praise, you gotta wipe your tears. I'm like, hold on, man, we need to.
Hey.
Hold up.
She might have cut a piece of your hair out.
Right.
Move mountains.
Right.
You like, God, keep me covered.
For real, man.
So all three of you would date her.
Yeah, she probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better possibility.
So I guess, girls, if you
Go see
in the
Travis
middle of
Green.
praising God, and you do, just don't do this. So, so let's see. The next question is if a girl comes up to you and asks you if you're single, date her or diss her.
I think there's nothing wrong with that question. That's a legit question.
I mean,
What's the difference?
I'm a firm believer. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I'm a firm believer in, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, me too.
Because that's the same as the first question.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Hey!
what's the difference between
So
nine
you,
and can I get your number?
yeah, the difference
I feel like
between
they're
nine and
both-
C.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
If
if
you
she's
single,
pursuing
that's
you,
so respectful.
Hey, you single? Like, no.
Right. Hey,
You single?
I'll say this: I don't think that it's like cool. I'm not gonna say cool, but I wouldn't prefer for a woman to approach me. I think if I'm interested, I'm man enough to approach you.
I would say.
You don't have to approach me. You know what I mean?
So you want
I
a nigga on
listen-
the number asking,
No,
or
but
you just
no, but
reneging
this is
on
what
the
I'm saying.
single?
This is what I'm saying. I'm not opposed to dating somebody who does go against something that I would prefer, because you never know. But I would just prefer for you to let me to be the approacher.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
But if
right.
it happened that way, then who's to say I wouldn't date? I'm optimistic. I
Right,
like to
right.
see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Okay.
Mhm.
So, if a woman, if a woman dated your friend before, you guys started the vibe. You have this great connection, and she wants to date her or diss her.
Don't
What
break
you
the
mean?
bro code, man.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There's a bro code, but there's, you know what I mean? If I splow you up, like,
Braxton's face.
right? I splowed you up. That splow in our community, that means something. That means I'm familiar with you. We've established, that was a contract. That was a physical contract that was being
Right.
made. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm splowing you up more than one time.
Like, you my bro, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna try. I'm not gonna try. You know what I mean? Swerve when you're shorty. But at the
Yeah.
same time, if it was someone like some high school stuff, and then we're grown adults, and y'all like was kids, and y'all was playing around, and now we're grown.
Right.
You never know. It might could turn into a date. It just matters. Is it worth it? Is it not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, how much do you value that friendship?
So
Yeah, how
you're
much you
like,
value the friendship,
it all
yeah.
depends on if God is like that is
No,
your
see,
wife.
Yes,
my
yes,
thing is,
to me too, yes.
Well, my thing is, people, like,
Yes.
first off, and I know this is a man of valor and women of integrity, stop name dropping God on everything. Like, you know what I mean? We try to hold God responsible for every decision that we make. And,
Right.
and truth be told,
He
we're not
gives us-
motivated all the time. He put these things
Well,
in
if
our
you're
hands.
acknowledging him in all your ways.
Yeah, we acknowledge him in all our ways, but all of our ways are not his ways. His ways are higher than ours.
He gives us free will,
Yeah.
but we're supposed to submit our will into what he tells us to do.
Yeah,
Right,
so
so
if you're
that's what I'm
submitting to
saying.
the Lord, then
Right.
you could kind of name
But that's
drop.
different, though. That's different. You know what I mean? If you sought the Lord and you was like, I'm praying about this relationship or I'm praying about this girl,
And then he sends your old friends.
yeah, then that's different. But if
I mean, it's
You know what I
kind of
mean?
touchy. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I say
But it's-
disrespect
yeah.
because I don't like to break the bro code.
yeah, I might have to let her go.
So
Yeah, let her
because
go.
we're running out of time, I ask
It
one more
depends on how long
question.
did they date?
Yeah, there's a lot of
can't
That's
different.
a lot of
I
questions.
didn't get with my bros though.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Right.
It's bro code.
If
This
a
is
girl
bro.
comes to you
Mhm.
and she says, I just want to let you know some inside scoops. I know the inside scoops. I just want to let you know we were friends. I seen you in church. I seen you at the Travis Green concert. But I just want to let you know that God told me that you were my husband. Okay, so before we go, just very
He
quickly,
didn't tell me.
each person tell me why this. And if it
He
took
didn't
like
tell
10
me.
seconds. He didn't tell you. Okay.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be the pursuer.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for joining us again on Women of Integrity. Please come. Man of integrity, man of valor. But please comment below. Let us know if you have more questions. If we have enough questions, please believe we will have a part 2. I'm so excited to see what you guys have to say. So please continue to watch Women of Integrity. We love you. Again, we are praying for you and thank you.
Peace.